About 2 years ago, my friends needed help, so I made this video to teach them how to fold an origami heart. It's probably one of the easiest ones I know, and honestly, if you know how to make it, it shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes. This one that I'm doing right now is a quick show of how quickly it takes to fold one. This was to help with a high school project that they had. A teacher wanted them to learn how to fold origami. They went through about 8 different origami ideas. I was called in about a number 4. The first idea they had, or showed to me, was a turtle, which apparently was a 13-minute long video that had them in near tears by an hour. I was absolutely astounded because the one that they were trying was not for beginners, so they showed me their backup. When they showed me a dinosaur, I nearly lost my mind. We went through a couple of other ones. They didn't want to do a cat or a box, so I switched them to a flower, only to realize that they couldn't follow through with the 5th fold. Sometimes I think they're glad that they live across the country because I was so close to throttling them. I stress ate half a box of Thin Mints. I was supposed to be on a diet. They couldn't figure out the frog fold and I considered hanging up on them. But by some miracle, around 30 minutes, they figured it out. I wanted to cry at that point. They were crying at that point. When we finished, I took a good look at the hearts that they had made and decided that it was probably best that I just gave them this video to show to the teacher instead. But they got full marks, so go me. As you can tell, this is a little sped up, but it took me about 3 minutes total to complete, so I promise that once we get through the tutorial, you'll be folding hearts in no time. So first off, you're going to make a square if you have a normal piece of paper, which is what most of you have, unless you bought origami paper, which then you'll already have your square. Folding the diagonal line is so we can have a reference point to what we need to cut off. I personally like to work with my hands because I get a little more control over my cuts, but if you're more comfortable with scissors, that's okay. We're going to dispose of this rectangular part because we only want to use the square. What I'm going to do is fold this so it looks like a diamond. Try to line up the corners with each other so that the folds are more precise later on, and don't forget, make sure to crease well. Now you're going to fold this in half, so it should have 6 lines. To help with directions, I'll be using Sharpie to show the distinct lines. Here's your first one. This is the main one you're going to be cutting. Again, I like to rip it in half, but you can use scissors. Now pick one side, it doesn't really matter which one. Personally, I chose this one, and as you can see, we already have some guiding lines here. These lines will help us make our later folds. So first we're going to take the corner that we already have with this line, and we're going to fold it like this. So now on one side we should have an X. The second half we do the exact same thing. Fold an X, and as such now we have 2 X's on this. This was the most complicated part of the lesson for my friends, the frog fold. There are 2 ways you can do this. The first is you're going to do this. You're going to grab the sides and you're going to push it in. And then there's the top part that you should hold down with your index fingers. Then you're going to push it down. Over here, there's a little square, you're going to squish that. Or you can learn the way my friends had to. Watch, I'm going to flip this around. The X in the center, there's a little dot right here that'll be your folding line. We are going to fold this in half. If you do this strategy, you can fold both sides like that. And now it's going to look like a little book. Now we have lines here, and I will also draw them out so people can see it. Let's do that here. Alright, now we have this. What's going to happen is we're going to pop these 2 sides up, which will guide us into the fold. And we should be able to press it down like that. And there you go. So that's a squash fold, frog fold, a lot of names for it. So afterward, we have this diamond. It should look like this now. Basically, if you open it, it should go back to its original position. Now we're going to pull one side of it off like this into a triangle. Crease this really well. Now we repeat on the other side. I'm going to make this easier and color in the folded part so you can see that there's a clear distinction between here. As you can see, you can open it and set it back to its original fold. We're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. So now I've done 2 diamonds on 2 sides. Next, we're going to do something similar to the frog fold to our triangles. You're going to pick this up right here, and then we're going to open up this little pocket. We squish it down just like that. So now we have a little square right here. And then we're going to repeat it on the other triangles, and a square there, and repeat. So now we should have something that looks like this. Now we're close to the end, so we're going to put flowers on our heart. I'm going to draw lines for this so it's a little easier to see. We already have our squares like this. What we're going to do now is we're going to grab one side of the square and we're going to fold it down into an even smaller triangle. Now we're going to do it again. When you fold, make sure that the open part of the square is the one that's becoming an acute angle. Now it should look like a little kite. Easy enough. I'm going to show it again one more time. We are going to grab one side of the square and I'm going to fold it against the center line. So now we have half a kite. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. And there we go, a full kite. Awesome, so I'm going to do this to the other squares a little faster this time. At the end of this, all 4 squares should become kites. There is a very distinct line right here. Make sure it is vertical when you make our final fold, and grab the top part of the diamond and fold it backward down to make a little mouth. I'm going to repeat it, showing you the back this time. Again, vertical line, fold it down, and a little mouth. And that's our heart. This next part is not necessary. What we're going to do is we're going to grab half of the kite, open this pocket right here, and squish the top part down to make a tiny triangle. I'm going to show it again. What we're going to do is we're going to open this pocket right here. So you see this? I'm going to squash it down. Now we're going to repeat this on all the other kites. As you can see, I struggled a little bit with this, so if you don't have the nails for this part, what you can do is get a pencil or a pen, and you can open it just like that. So it works out just the same. Again, you don't have to fold the decorations. I like doing it because it just looks a little fancier, and that's basically how you make an origami heart.